Ah, Dallas Cowboys take Ryu, Tyler, Sean got a victory 20-17 against the Superchargers. We have some. Don't get us wrong. The victory is a victory, right? We got the W, but there's good and bad we got to talk about, and we'll get into that. Before we get into all that, comment, subscribe, like, do all that stuff so we can beat the algorithms. And if you don't want to go on YouTube all the time, go to Dallas Cowboys Take, and I'll put that description on the screen. I'll put actually description. I'll put the website in the description below. You can check us out there. Have all of our videos there. But anyways, let's get into it. I always like to start with, and this is a new for us because now we're going to start doing immediate reaction after the game instead of waiting 3 or 4 days later. So now that it's fresh in our mind, I think it's better for us. So I'm going to start with you, Sean. Your first take. Not to get too specific because we'll get into that, but what's your first thought on the game tonight?
Well, we need this win big time. Right? A loss would have just would have been damaging to us. So overall win, hey, we'll take it. 20-17. We always play the Chargers tight for some reason. But I'll take the win. I mean,
Right.
obviously, but there are some things that we definitely need to work on as a team to get better because the Chargers are not a great team. And to win by 3 points in a very tight game, it's not something to be over the top on, but
Right. Yeah.
I'm okay with the win, obviously, right?
Right.
It's not ecstatic like, yeah, Cowboys won. I'm not like that right now. I'm just like, cool, like we won, like.
Right. Yes. Same here. What about you, T?
I've always called it's funny because it's been more than it's since Philip Rivers was the quarterback of the Chargers. I've always called the Chargers the Cowboys of the AFC. A team that's got talent, a team that's got players. They just never seem to get over that hump. And also that's my first take. I was super ecstatic for the Cowboys to get the win, more because the game was an exciting game in general. But same as what Sean said, I'm not overly ecstatic because it is a 3-point win against a team that doesn't have a great defense, and we only scored 20 points. I will give player of the game for me is Dak Prescott, and we all know, people on here know I'm not a Dak Prescott fan. Player of the game is Dak Prescott, and I will always say this: wins and losses are determined by Dak Prescott and how good he plays. And we can talk about the defense giving up 42 points. Dak Prescott didn't have a good game against San Fran, regardless of how the defense played. And today, Dak Prescott played all right. He didn't make any big mistakes. He got some key third down conversions. He moved the ball. He used his feet to move the ball. And these are all things that I've been saying he can do and he needs to do in order for this offense to be successful. Now, again, we only scored 20 points. We went for it on a 4th down and short, in scoring position early in the game. That's, those are points left on the board right there. I was for it. I'm glad we went for it. I wanted to go for it. And then penalties. Penalties has been an issue, and it's going to continue to be an issue for us. It's going to keep points off the board for us. So,
yeah.
Overall, happy we got the win going into the bye. Not overly ecstatic about only scoring 20 points on a not as great defense.
Yeah, same here. I'm just glad we had a home game today. That was a home game for us, bro.
Yeah, pretty
much. Every year we, like the 2 years ago when Sean and I went,
Kitty.
It's a home game for us.
They call it AT&T West.
Yeah. So it was good to have pretty much a home game, but yeah, not overly ecstatic. I'm happy for the W, and I'm glad Joey's not on here. Literally, because he'd be calling us some negative fucks. No, you guys are negative and blah blah blah. So he's not here to say that. But a W is a W. You got to be happy about it going into the bye. But there's some things we have to tighten up, and I mean, there's a lot of things we got to. But on the good note, Dak, like you said, T played well enough. Defense played well enough, and who would have thought it? But we said it a few weeks ago, but we have a kicker, right? Who would have thought it? Like, We can
Should
relax.
have said that, dude. Oh my god.
2 important kicks today.
Waiting for someone to say that. No, yeah, you're
We
right.
said that a couple weeks ago, so it's crazy because we were the ones that screaming about we need a kicker, but I don't know. We'll see. Knock on wood. We'll see. This is the pressure. This was a pressure kick for him, and he made it. So we got to give him props for that. But let me go. Let me start on the opposite side, Sean. Because we have a lot of things to work on. What did you see, and what do we have to work on in your opinion? Because I got my opinion, T does, but let's see if
My
we're all on the
opinion
same
is the
page.
play calling was way too vanilla, dude. I don't know if Kellen Moore had the headphones on for both teams, because that's what it looked like, right? It just looked way too vanilla. I mean, they were running to cover two. We all know cover two, the middle's open. I know Dak missed a couple down the middle, but still, take the shot. Like, why are we dinking this 10 yards, 5 yard shit like all? And I understand that Dak was under pressure at some point, but the vanilla, it's just super vanilla. There's no creativity. I didn't see a lot of motions. I didn't see a lot of different sets. It was just strictly vanilla. And that's why I think a defense like a subpar defense like the Chargers was able to be effective against us because we weren't doing anything. You know what I mean? Like we weren't showing anything. So and I think T's right. Dak did good. Dak looked like a mobile quarterback today. It reminded me back, 4 or 5 years ago when he was able to scramble before injury, right? He was able to get out of the pocket. And he's not bad when he gets out of the pocket. I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
The biggest takeaway I have, and I know people are not gonna like this, we need a number one running back. We need a number one running back. Pollard's not a number one. We sort of talked about this last year and the year before. We need some. We can't have a running back getting 2 yards a pop. 15 carries for 30 yards. I know he's good on the pass. He's good on some screens, but my overall take is no one has respect for our running game at all. Like zero respect. And then our red zone woes is still happening, dude. I mean, it's a. I don't know. We need to clean that up. And then I also didn't respect McCarthy's 8 seconds left.
Oh,
He wants to go all the way down to 3 seconds, kick a field goal. You got one more play in there.
oh my
Throw
God.
the freaking ball. Try for the TD. Why you go? It was terrible. I was yelling at the TV. I was like, call timeout. Come on, dude. We got another play. You let her go all the way down. It was just mind-boggling to
So
me.
you played to win the game, right?
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
That's what you do.
Exactly. That shows me he has no confidence in his quarterback because
McCarthy
pass
plays not to lose.
when he throws a pick in the end zone. But
Yeah.
you can't. You have to have confidence in your quarterback. So that's my overall take on a very vanilla offense that could have been great because all they were doing is running that cover two. They're running man here or there, but there was two safeties back the whole time.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's pretty much it. I like what T said about Dak. I think that's true. I think he's the player of the game as well. And I think when he's effective, the team's effective. When he does great, team does great. They feed off of him. And I know it sucks because it's a lot of pressure on him, but it is what it is, man. He's got to play good every game. He's got to play good.
That's a lot coming from T because T's not a big Dak fan. So when he gives Dak the game ball, I guess that means something, right? Because he's not a big fan of Dak's. I'll tell you that much. What do you think, T? What our offense? Our offense. What do we have to work on? What did you see that you didn't like?
I think we need to keep punching away at the run game, whether that means using Pollard more or using him less and throwing in Rico Dowdle or Malik Davis or signing another running back from free agency, just to pound away at that run game. I will say Mike McCarthy didn't give up on the run game as early today as he had. I mean, even before we were losing to San Francisco, I think I mentioned it. His first 8 play calls, there was 2 run plays.
Yeah.
He needs to run the ball more, especially early in the game. Even if it's only getting 2 yards, you got to keep punching away at the run game because that's the only way to make the play action effective. And I mean, when Dak Prescott's running an effective play action, he's a lethal quarterback. Dak Prescott, I could tell he threw 3 interceptions last week because he took 4 sacks this week, and I would say 3 of those sacks he should have thrown the ball away. He had plenty of time to get rid of the ball and or scramble or step up in the pocket and make a move. And I think part of that is because he threw 3 interceptions last week. People can say they ignore all the noise all they want, but he knows he threw 3 interceptions last week, and that he knows that people are talking about it. He, besides that, had a really good game today. He was very mobile. He was running around. He was actually avoiding a lot of sacks and then making plays with both his feet and his arm. 3rd down conversions, that play to Tony Pollard, I didn't think was going to happen. I saw him running and I'm like, oh, he's going to get tackled and they're going to punt the ball. And I was actually happy that he ran the ball. But then all of a sudden he threw it at the last second. We got a 60-yard play out of it. As far as the running game goes, I think teams are forcing Dak Prescott to beat us. I don't necessarily think it's a lack of running back talent. We know how good Tony Pollard is when he gets just a little bit of space. Just a little bit of space. He just needs about a foot to squeeze through that line, and he's going to explode for a big, good chunk of yards. This week and last week, he wasn't given that space. I saw plays this week where he was tackled as soon as he's touching the ball, or he can barely get to the line of scrimmage and there's people right on top of him. And that's not because our offensive line's bad. It's not because Tony Pollard doesn't have good vision. It's because teams are selling out to stop our run game and forcing Dak Prescott to beat them. And they forced Dak Prescott to beat them this week, and he was able to do so. And that's where, we rely on good play calling and good coaching and quick passes, and then Dak Prescott to be mobile so that we can change things up. A vanilla offense.
You're a defensive coordinator. You're going to be worried about our run game?
No.
Well, it's not so much about what you're worried about. It's about what Dak Prescott. We have 7 years of film on Dak Prescott. And so if you're
how are they selling out on the run?
If you're a defense and you're like, hey, let's make Dak Prescott beat us, what are you going to do? And I'm not saying
you said that all the teams are selling out on the run. How are they doing that?
They're keeping guys in the box. They're bringing slants towards our strengths to keep our running game at bay, and they're not doing crazy pass rushes. If you look at the sacks that the Chargers had today, it wasn't because they were stunting or because they were blitzing. It's because the coverage was good and Dak Prescott wasn't throwing the ball. They're playing gap responsible defense. They're not falling for play actions. They're just making sure Dak Prescott throws the ball. And if I'm a D coordinator,
so you don't see any cutback lanes open for Pollard
for mistakes. What's that?
You don't see any cutback lanes open for Pollard.
Yeah, I mean,
where he could cut back.
But how much time? We could see it from the camera angle. We can see it from up here, but he's down on the field. And yeah, I'm not saying he's the best running back in the world. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we have a top 10 running back. I'm saying if you give that guy a little bit of space, he's going to break some runs. And he doesn't.
You think he's a 1? He's a 1 in the NFL.
A 1 in the NFL. Well, that depends on what your definition of 1 is. Me and Ryan had this discussion. No, he's not a Christian McCaffrey. He's not a Saquon Barkley. He's not a Derrick Henry. But we've seen those 3 running backs struggle to gain yards when teams force their quarterbacks to beat them. Teams force the Giants to throw the ball. And that's why Saquon Barkley is only averaging like 2 or 3 yards a carry until he breaks that one big run at the end of the game. But
or his line sucks too.
Line sucks, right? It's true. That's true. But we've seen Derrick Henry have bad games before, right? And he's one of the best running backs we've seen in the past 20 years. And we've seen him have bad games, and that's when teams are like, hey, we're going to force Ryan Tannehill to beat us. And like I said, I'm not saying Tony Pollard's a Christian McCaffrey or a top 5 or a top 10 running back. What I am saying is he is explosive, and he needs a little bit of space to squeeze through that hole, and he's going to get you 5 to 10 to 15 yards, maybe break a big run.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I think what your guys' definition of a 1 running back is somebody who could maybe break a tackle in the backfield and go gain positive yards. And I'll give you that. Tony Pollard's not that. That's not him. He's not going to
Just
break.
get to the second level. That's what we're looking for.
Okay, yeah. And to get to the second level, though, you need that. You need space. You need to at least have some momentum behind you to go get those yards.
I just need him to have the vision to cut back, because there's times where you can cut back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a big time cutback.
He's not having the vision to cut back. Now, am I thinking? Do I think he's a number one? I don't think he's number one. I think he's good on the 1-2 punch, 1A, 1B. And
that's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. I've never said that he needs to get 80% of the carries or 70% of the carries, but I've said he's a good 60-40 guy where he could be the 60 guy. Like if Zeke Elliott was still on our team, if Zeke Elliott was still on our team this year, or even last year, or even the year before that, I would have appreciated if Tony Pollard was the primary guy and Zeke Elliott was our short yardage guy, our third down guy, because he can pass block and he can still catch passes.
Yeah,
short yardage. And I think Tony Pollard was a better running back 2 years ago than Zeke Elliott, and last year than Zeke Elliott, but Zeke Elliott got more carries.
We're definitely missing somebody like Zeke, because when you have a 4th and half a yard and you QB sneak and you can't get it in, that just tells me that you don't have the faith in TP.
You
don't trust the running back. You don't trust our running game to get that half a yard, and
right.
You know what I mean? But I think
everybody's doing that QB sneak that Philly does, and no one can just get it down, dude. It's like copycat league, right?
Right. I get it. But the things on offense that I see, number one, are pre-snap penalties. Fucking terrible. Our line, like T said, a lot of those sacks weren't their fault, but they did give up sacks. And then this is the second game they were all together at once, so we're gonna give them time to gel. And like you said earlier, Sean, it's vanilla as hell. There's no motions, there's no deception, there's none of against good defenses, a la the Niners last week. You're gonna get your ass kicked because you're not confusing them. They can run their base defense cover 2 like the Niners and rush 4 and get to Dak, because there's nothing. There's no rub routes. There's no motions to see if they're running man or zone. What the coverage is going to do, like the Rams and the Niners do. You can run the exact same play. That you can run this play, but have somebody in motion. You can run that play 3 different ways, 3 different motions. Players running here, going different motions. You have a jet motion, you have a fly motion, and it's going to confuse the defenses. But we don't have that. And my thing was, I heard.
I completely. There's nothing wrong if you're Mike McCarthy or any of the offensive coaches watching the game in Miami and watching how they put Tyreek.
Oh my God, yeah.
Watch how they put Tyreek in motion almost every play pre-snap, and at the very least he gets a running start, and he's the fastest guy in the NFL. He doesn't even need a running start. You give CeeDee Lamb a running start, he's not that fast, right, vertically, but you give him a running start, and he has that quickness. He can stop on you. He can go. He can cut in. I mean, there's no pre-snap motion. So I agree with you on that. They need more.
Plus, I can tell if they're running man or not when they're in motion. I can tell. That gives the defense away a little bit when I see the motion, and I can be like, okay, man, and then Dak can.
That's what it's for.
Look around and
that's what motion is for, to see what the defense is doing, and we're not doing any of that shit. I don't understand it. You run into good defenses, it's not going to work.
Their first touchdown, right? They send the guy in motion across the field. You automatically see that it's man defense. And when he has to come, and especially in the red zone like that, when he has to come in motion across his entire defense to try to keep up with the receiver, there's almost no way you can do that. There's almost no way.
Right.
So,
and I heard McCarthy after the loss last week went to the stadium, went to the Star, stayed there all night working on a game plan, working on the offense.
Kept the staff there.
I couldn't tell.
I
mean? What did you do that was different? I mean, you did get creative on, that the end around and with Cooks and all that stuff. Okay, but that's Bushy.
Yeah, that was a nice play to Pollard though that Dak missed, dude. Or I don't know if he missed it or got all. That was a good play. And there was some good plays here or there that he.
And I understand.
But
I understand. Every week goes by, you put new plays in, but that has nothing to do with motions. It's fly motions and jet motions. Right. You can throw all those things in there. So if we're gonna beat the Eagles, we're gonna have to be more creative. We've got the Rams coming up in 2 weeks. They're very creative. You want to see creative offense? You're gonna see that in 2 weeks. So we have a work cut out for us for ourselves. But Our defense did well. We'll go on the defense. We'll go on defense right now. We're running out of time. But Sean, what do you? Our defense. We were talking a little bit earlier, and you didn't think our defense did all that well. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I didn't think they. I'm not saying they didn't do well. It's just I'm not satisfied with the secondary play, and I guess it's because I put him up here. You know what I mean? So Jordan Lewis fell short to me, especially on that first touchdown play. He does have to run through, but he was late on the motion. He was totally late, 4 or 5 steps, and you can't do that in the NFL, right? So that was a rub route. I don't know if you guys know that or not. That was a rub route. Gilmore had his man. He didn't let him off the line to rub him, and even so, he still couldn't get across because he was late. Easy touchdown.
Yeah.
Same thing on the last play too, where Bland was stuck in no man's land. The guy went in motion, right? Came back, easy touchdown because his own players are screening him, right? So Kellen Moore, those plays were good. So I'm just saying, and I've seen other teams pop out too. So where Gilmore is in the inside, the guy goes in motion. The slot where Gilmore would be,
a slide out.
He would pop out and get that guy, huh?
He'll slide out, yeah.
Yeah, he would pop out and go man on that guy, and then this guy would come over here and take this man. Like I've seen that, especially in the Niners. So I just think we should. But overall, we were letting too much. They were catching way too much passes, man. I didn't like how open some of these guys were. Keenan Allen's not a really great receiver, and he had 85 yards. He should have had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, we got lucky.
Missed him.
We got lucky.
So, that Sluggo, I think freaking Bland's freaking ankles got broken on that Sluggo. I mean, it was just he missed it. But so just little things like that. But the pass rush with 4 linemen going down, we did great rushing Herbert. That was good. So what Dan Quinn is trying to do is trying to disguise his defense a little bit, play man over here and zone over here, but he couldn't because they couldn't play man.
I know.
They were getting destroyed on man. So I don't know if you guys seen it, but the last play on that pick was a cover 2, right? So we were able to leave Gilmore. Gilmore. Am I pronouncing that wrong? Yeah. So he was allowed to stay home in the flats, and he had a receiver over. We weren't doing that a lot of the games. I don't know if you guys saw, we weren't playing that cover 2. So allowed him to do that, but that's it. I know we're running out of time, so I don't want to. I have a lot more notes, but I don't want to go too long.
I know we did. You know, that was that. We did. It was a Bamba dope break. That's what we did. Bamba no break. But I think Herbert was pressured the most today, so far in the first 5 games for them. So we got to him. We just didn't get any sacks. We got 1 sack, and you know the first 4 games, we were sacking everybody multiple times a game.
But did he look antsy in the pocket, like he just wanted to hurry and get rid of the ball? You know what I mean? Like
that's why they say it's not always about sacks; it's about pressures as well, because he's afraid he's going to get hit. So we did our job. The D line, our front 4 did our job. Secondary had their, like we said, it could have been worse. They could have gave us some touchdowns. But real quick, T, what do you think defensive wise?
I thought the defense initially watching the game. I kind of agree with Sean. I'm like, man, these receivers are just catching passes and they're open. There's a lot of passes that they're not catching because either the pass was overthrown or underthrown or whatever. But I think part of that is because the defense was playing well. So like you might see an open receiver and you might see the quarterback overthrow him, but that's maybe because there was pressure in his face. So that's part of the defense. I've seen the best corners in the NFL get burnt on sluggo routes. It's a very
Of course. Oh yeah.
It's a very difficult route to cover.
Oh, yeah.
I was just waiting for Ryan to say something to me because I've been talking up Bland. So I was like, oh, this guy's gonna say something to me. They're Bland right now.
He's good. I love him, but he just got burnt.
Yeah, and he almost got 2 picks today.
He should have took that one to the house, man.
One of them was that 4th down in the end zone too, which is a huge play. I like Bland. I thought they started picking on Gilmore a little bit and in the second half, especially.
Yeah.
But he got that big pick too. I think they were in like a man defense with cover 2 over the top. So like a man under with 2. That's a great defense for that situation. And it exposed, you can't run the same defense the whole game. So, you know, maybe there's plays we're running it and we don't see it. but I thought our defense did pretty good the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Majority of the movement that their offense had was on penalties or on a muffed punt. They had the muffed punt, right? On our special teams, which is, I mean, that was just one of those bad luck plays, I feel like.
Yeah.
Just a bad balance for us because, Tolbert was doing the right thing. He thought his guy touched it, so he tried to grab it. Whatever, it is what it is. But that created points for them. But other than that, like, I feel like our defense played pretty well. Like,
yeah, we did.
I talk about stats all the time. Stats are, some people get hung up on stats, but what you don't take into account is all that pressure we were putting on the quarterback. Yeah, we only had one sack, but how many times did he have happy feet, or did he?
Oh yeah, I think he had 18 pressures or something like that. I thought I read 18 pressures or something like that. So I think Gilmore, he's not gonna you go man with him, he's gonna get burnt. But it's all about his savvy, that veteran savvy that he has. That's what we got him for.
Yeah.
But we have 2 minutes with Sean. I know you had some notes that you wanted to go over real quick. That you got 2 minutes, so go for it. Yes. Some notes.
No, I just wanted to shout out to Damon Clark for coming in for LTV. Did a great job, man. The guy was running all over the place. He was almost on every play. Had the most tackles tonight, 7 tackles. So I mean, LTV better be careful, man.
You know who I want to give? You know who I want to give an honorable mention to is Bell.
Oh yeah.
Number 14, Bell. Yeah, he's
in open field.
Yeah,
his open field tackles.
Marquise Bell, great tonight. How about Odigizua? He had like 8 tackles tonight.
Yeah. 5 tackles, 2 solos.
Yeah.
They stepped it up. But like we said, we have a lot to improve on going forward because we play this against the Rams, we're going to lose. So we got to do better. Aaron Donald's coming, and that guy's a beast. So we'll see how that goes. But overall, we won. We got the W. So obviously, we got to be happy about that.
Mike McCarthy's got to clean up these penalties, dude. He's got to be pissed off. He's got to clean up because those penalties are on him, dude. The undisciplined team is on the head coach, dude.
How often do we got to line up in the neutral zone before we look at the ball and take a step back?
Right? That's every
game.
That's Pop Warner basic bullshit, dude.
Golly almighty.
Crazy. It's insane, dude. But there's one of the things I mentioned. No, I can't freaking remember. I don't know. We'll see. But real quick, my prediction for the game was 31-20 Cowboys. What was yours, Sean?
2017 Cowboys.
What was yours, Steve?
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I think it was.
I didn't have one.
I think it was 27-24. Let me double check. I texted what my prediction was.
Mine was 31-20.
I think it was 27-24. I could be wrong. Maybe 31-20. Oh, 31-27.
There you go.
Dallas.
All right, Dallas Cowboys take. We got 2 weeks, so maybe we'll see you in 2 weeks to get a prediction. But we're gonna start doing this after every game, immediate reaction. But tune into Dallas Cowboys take. Sean, T, Ryu.
We're not sponsored by Pacifico.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
All right, man. Go boys.